You're watching Morning at NTV.
Yes, you're watching Morning at NTV with me, Malaki Vilodera and Romeo Busiku. And we're heavy on hashtag Morning at NTV across all the social media platforms. Just in case you're stepping out, you absolutely have no excuse. You can stream us live on NTV Uganda. That's on Facebook and YouTube. And chatters, all right? Chatters on social media. We are with you. We're getting into a take note conversation for the morning. And we are getting into something special for quite a number of you. Of course, you know that Makerere University will be having its 70th graduation ceremony this day. Of course, it's going to be, you've heard of the push and pull about the gowns and stuff like that. So that means one thing, that we're going to have quite a number, over 10,000 will be graduating this season, all right, from just Makerere University. But the conversation has been, according to UBOS, every single year we are having 400,000 graduates being churned out from institutions, of course, higher institutions, tertiary institutions, universities alike, but only 90,000 are assimilated in the formal sector. So then what happens to the 310,000 who are left out every single year? That's the conversation we're having this morning. And of course, I'm joined by Miss Ruth Binzika Musoke. She is a director at the Private Sector Foundation right here in Uganda, and she manages the Skills and Development Fund at the same foundation. Many thanks and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much and good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Let's just be in line with the current phenomenon. We're expecting Makerere University to graduate some of its students today. And that means one thing, not every one of them will be assimilated. When you look at the statistics, like I mentioned earlier on, every year Uganda churns out over 400,000. Only 90,000 of those are assimilated in the formal sector.
Yeah.
What happens to the 310? But my first question for you will be, we're going to break that conversation into two. If I really want, because we have different passions in life and different, ambitions in life as individuals.
Yeah.
If I'm a graduate and I really, really don't want to miss out on the formal beat of things, where do I start? How do I stand out a higher chance of being assimilated in the white-collar jobs?
Okay. I think what you talked about is actually a very key thing, and it's something that Uganda is grappling with, of ensuring that when people are out, they get jobs immediately, but also those that don't get the formal jobs, what are they able to do? Let me start with those that want to get the formal jobs.
Right.
I think let's first get the reality, is that getting a formal job is not that very, very easy. So if any student, any graduate knows that, then they have to know they have to earn it. How do you earn it? The first thing that you have to do is to prepare your documentation.
Okay.
There are so many people graduating, and if you ask them, do you know how to do a CV? They have no idea. Do you have anything that shows that you have this qualification? They don't have it. So your first pocket thing you put in your bag, if you want to get ready for a formal job, is your documentation.
All right.
That is the first thing.
So how do I go about
go
having my CV right?
You can get your testimonial there, and then
Yes.
the CV right. A CV is a very simple thing to just show what are you able to do, what qualification do you have, but also what are you able to do, even if it is volunteering, even if you are just a leader at school. There are people that have given jobs, because I noted he was a leader in a class, and I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah, he has leadership. There are people that we gave jobs because he said, I was volunteering with Red Cross, with family planning, and then you see that in that person.
So what you're saying is, it's not just about the formatting of the CV, but the content therein.
It's extremely, very, very important. And some people would say, but I don't have experience. You don't have to have experience in formal employment, but it's about these things that you've done in your church, that you've done in your club if you have it, that you've done in school, that you put in the CV. And then the second thing is to have your mind right. Prepare yourself, because if you go to get a job, you must be able to have that confidence and being positive. There are people who would walk into an office. I sit on several boards, by the way.
Yes.
And you know what happens? Somebody comes to apply. I remember one time when somebody came for a job and he said, I've come with this testimony from my pastor that I will get the job. And I'm like, you yourself, what do you think about yourself?
Yes.
What can you be able to bring? And somebody, let me tell you something, a young person would be able to say, okay, if I'm going to this organization, let me try to read about it. What do they do? What can I be able to do? Even when I'm young, I should be able to say, yes, when I was coming in, I just noted the reception. Maybe there were so many people hugging and asking questions, and I think I could be of help. If I come in, maybe I'll beef up your customer relations
All right.
desk.
So what
You
I'm
get it?
getting, what you're getting critically this morning from you is that over and above that amazing degree, even if you had brilliant grades, there has to be an X factor. Fine, it's perfect on paper, but what can you deliver? That's one. Now, the other thing is, how do we go about scouting for these jobs? Of course, there's been this conversation that them that get this job opportunities and vacancies are them that are well connected in society. My mother knows who and who and who. But how do we go about finding some of these things?
Sometimes that is a myth. Of course, they could be about 20% of jobs, of people who get jobs, because maybe they know people there. But a number of employers are looking for the people who have the courage to walk in, to apply. You get it, to convince the panel. You get it.
Say that again. To walk in.
To walk in, you know, to look around and say, I saw that PricewaterhouseCoopers wanted these people. I saw that MTN wanted these particular people, and you're able to walk in, you're able to apply, you're able to fill in the form on the website. And you know what happens is that a number of young people should be able to say, according to what I know and what I've learned, which are these potential institutions that I can be able to work in. And I want to tell them something. You don't have to necessarily do what you've studied.
Good.
You know?
Yes.
Some people say, me, I'm an accountant, and I only have to do accounting. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Because you may want to do accounting and then you don't even yet have the ACC and CPA.
Right.
You get it?
Right.
But if you come in there and say, whatever that you know, you look at what is available. When I look at my career, how I grew, because I left campus. By the time I left and graduated, I had a job. And I was earning 1 million. And that is 2002. People can't even believe. You know, I was by that time. And do you know how I got it? Volunteering. I entered this organization. You know, some people don't even want to volunteer. I can tell you, if you can't find a job, look for an organization that you can volunteer.
All right. Good enough. Good enough. So we're done with that whole conversation of the frantic job search. Let's now move to the other 310 that will not be assimilated in the formal sector. What happens to them? Where do I start? I've done everything. It's 3 years after graduation. I've tried my best. But after soul searching, I'm like, maybe there could be something else for me that I can actually do. So we're talking entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Where do we start with entrepreneurship a beginner?
I am going to categorize those maybe in 2 or 3.
Okay.
All right. And one category is somebody who has graduated. You have really tried and you can't find a job. All right. Now, one thing I want to ask you and I will tell you is, look at yourself and say, what passion, what skill, what passion do I have? You get it? Maybe I am very good at, you know, decorating, you know. Maybe as a person I'm very good at fashion. I can look at somebody and I would advise, and then I'm able to help you do something. What you think you can do as a passion, as a skill, automatically. I mean, just look at, if somebody did your makeup and she was at campus, automatically you start doing makeup.
Right.
You get it?
Yeah.
So for me, look at your skill that you have. However small it is, it can immediately turn into a small thing that you can do.
All right, that's category 1.
That is category 1.
Yes.
The second category, look at your kind of network that you have. It could be a family business. It could be for your brother. It could be for your sister. It could be for your mother. What role can I play there for a time being? You get it? That is another category. A number of people would say, I don't have a job. And your father is running a school.
Business. Yes.
You get it? And you're not even looking at it. And you're saying, I'm unemployed. You get it? So look at your family business. It could be through your friends, your networks. They have something. What role can you be able to play there?
All right.
The third thing, if I look around and, you know, look around to people that I know, how much little money can I try to mobilize? All right? However little it is, and I'm able to start a small business. You know,
do you think people are pro that in this day and age, whereby you call them, hey, Madam Ruth, you've been my friend and I have this brilliant business idea. Can you plant a seed with me? Even if it's 10K?
I can tell you something.
People don't like those conversations nowadays.
People have invested in educating you, for example, at the university.
Yeah.
And if you tell them, you know what I want to do? I want to start doing a mobile grocery deliverables at home, and all I need is 300,000 to start. Let me tell you, everybody will appreciate an intelligent young person. If I'm not asking you for money to go and dance, and I hate these guys who ask you money to go and marry, work for it. You get it?
Yeah.
If you're telling me I need this money to do this, why wouldn't I assist you? If I've paid for education and I know you don't have a job, I'll do that for my sibling.
All
if
right.
they do that, it is because a number of people don't think about that.
Okay.
They would come to ask you for money for shoes, to buy hairstyles, to do all these things.
Right.
But you're able to come in with ideas that really, it would really, really, really work.
Okay, so we've broken down category 1, look at your passion. What is it that you really love to do? And start small.
And I want to say something else.
Yes.
If you studied something and you think there is no job at all, you can do a skills diversion.
Okay.
You get it? You would have studied maybe to be, you did social sciences, but you think that if you go and did a course, a 2 weeks course in making cakes, you know, you can start it over and do something good.
Right.
You get it? So you do a skills diversion.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it's what you studied,
All right.
but you do a diversion and do something else shorter. This is happening in Singapore.
Yes.
When I was there and visited their Skills Future, they are saying we are funding a lot of skills diversion, because we realize at a certain stage some jobs don't have some courses or skills do no longer have jobs.
Right.
And we are looking for these particular skills where people could actually do and automatically get jobs.
I totally agree with you, especially in this era whereby we've been having conversations about artificial intelligence coming through to, you know, replace some of these roles that have been there for quite a long time. Now, we've broken it down. Number 1, look at your passion. What is it that you can start now and you really love to do? The other thing is, look at your relatives. If you have someone doing a business, go out, just join them and learn a thing or two from them and help them do their business. That way you grow and you get ideas from there. The other thing we've also talked about, just rally up friends, try to get a few coins from them and start up something. Then skills diversion is critical. I support you on that one at 100%. Be open-minded. Now, fine, all this is set, but we've always had a conversation that if you go into business without preparing yourself, you're doomed to fail. You're doomed to burn your pennies. So how do I go out and start on the right footing? I've gotten these monies, maybe from my savings, maybe from people who believed in me, and now I want to start. How do I get it right? Because we have a phenomenon in Uganda. Actually, we are arguably the most enterprising country, but most of these enterprises don't even see to their first birthday. Let's not even get to the third, second birthday. So how do I get it right when I'm just a beginner?
Yes.
I have the monies. How do I get it right in business?
Yes. That is a very, very critical question that you're asking. And maybe one practical thing I can always tell people is that if you want to start, all right, no borrowed money in the beginning if it's a new thing.
Okay.
But take time to identify what you want to do and which businesses are similar to what you want to do. Just imagine if I wanted to do a small food joint, you know, you ask yourself, do I want a KFC, a Bon Appetit, a Tipse, a Chili, all those, we even have a Nalongo.
Right.
You get it?
Yeah.
Eh? Try to understand what kind of business, how is it, what am I going to do, how unique is it going to be? Go into the aspects, simple aspects of where is it going to be located? Who will be my customers? Are they people who are going to buy chikumi at campus? Are they people who would maybe afford a 10,000? Is it those of 25 or 30? You get it? What kind of people do I need with me? Maybe the key one person, me, and because it has to be you and somebody else.
Right.
You get it? And then look around for somebody to mentor you. There are so many young people we are mentoring, and there are so many organizations like Enterprise Uganda, Private Sector Foundation Uganda. You can go to UWIL, you can go to Uzia, even UIA has an SME desk where you can actually go and get a lot of information. A number of times we don't want to ask. You know, you're like, you know, I'm going to just go and do it.
Right.
That is a very big
So
problem.
invest heavily on research.
Try to get as much information as possible
Right.
about something. Where will I source? Do you know you can try to do a business and you don't even know where you're going to source your materials?
Right.
You know, you could say, no, it is very easy for me to sell. Somebody was telling me, I want to do jackfruit. People love jackfruit. And I was like, where will you get the good jackfruit? Just a simple thing, because you know people like the hard ones, you know, a little bit,
Uh-huh.
nice ones,
Yes.
but it's not easy to get them. If you have those ones, everybody will buy. And I was like, where will you get them? I asked the person, which districts are the best jackfruit
They don't
growers? You get it? Yeah? So it is those simple things that you try to find out as you're trying to start a business.
All right.
And then you look at the little money you have. How am I going to be able to sustain? Because a number of time, people start businesses and they eat their businesses. You're doing it, you're relying on it. It is that in 1 month or two, it is that paying for everything on you. What would happen? It doesn't grow. Because whatever money you're making, you're putting it in there. A number of people do businesses and they don't want to be there.
All right, so let's talk about growing the money and growing the business as well. How do I go about saying that then this is a percentage that I need to reinvest into the business, and this is the percentage that I have to, of course, we do business for survival as
Of
well.
course.
So how much should go to me as the entrepreneur? So talk to us about the numbers. The business has started. We've started making some money. So break down the percentages. How much should I reinvest in the business for it to grow, and how much should go to my expenditures?
Yes. You know what is very critical in a business is, first of all, to appreciate that you and the business are separate people.
Okay.
That is the first thing. Because where things go wrong is to decide that, you know, I'll pick the money from the business, I'll buy my food, I'll pick the money from the business and I'll pay for my rent,
Yes.
and I'll pay for my transport. If you're able to first separate that, that is the first beginning. Now, after separating it, if you've never done accounting, you're able to have some simple aspects in your business. What are the operational costs of my business? All right? What is the cost of sales for the things? For example, if I'm selling jewelry, how much, if I sell my jewelry at 10,000 and I bought it at 5,000, it doesn't mean that the 5,000 remaining is a profit. No. You get it?
Yeah.
Because it has some operational costs that you have. It could be rent, it could be staff, it could be some utility bills. You get it? Now, it is after that, you know, after removing the operational costs, all right, and the cost of sales, that you're able to know how much money am I remaining with.
What's your
and normally,
ideal profit?
And normally, it is always very advisable that at least 20 to 30% of the money that you retain is plowed back. And importantly, your cost of sales, you know, capital, what they call capital,
Yes.
is where the problem is. People eat the capital.
Yes.
Yeah? If you know that whenever I sell, and those of you that don't know how to calculate, just always say, if I wholesale a bunch of banana, matoke,
Yeah.
I have wholesale it at 7,000. I have sold it at 12. It means my capital is 7. That one, you first put it back
Yeah.
in the lay language.
Yeah.
Then you play around with the remaining one.
Okay.
You get it?
All right.
Do you know what people would do? For them, when you sell your 12,000, when you bought 7, you just start eating. And then the capital is gone.
Right.
You get
Okay.
it?
So
Yeah.
you need to separate yourself from the business and make sure that after your sales,
Yes.
do your math. Remove the money that went into you delivering that sale, the operational costs.
Yes.
The profit you have, 20% of that
Must
needs
be.
to be reinvested back to the business.
Yes.
Let's talk competition.
Yes.
Because under the sun, there's no new business that is ever going to be established.
Yes.
Everything has been established, has been done before by someone. So if you're new and you're getting into this market, you've done your research, you've started out, then how do you start surviving the highly competitive space?
You know what happens if you're starting your business? You try. You know, Chinese have been good at copying. All right, and I always tell people, copy better and write. If you
Say that again?
just
Say that again?
Copy right and better do it right.
Okay.
Yeah? Now, what normally happens is that, for example, just imagine I want to do a salon or a salon, and somebody is doing a salon. You know what I would do? I'll go in there and I'm saying, what will I do better to make my customers a little bit better, to be more satisfied, and it would attract more people.
Yeah.
Maybe when I come in, I sit and wait. For me, I would say, as soon as you sit in, I would maybe bring a hot cloth,
Yeah.
to make sure you know you warm yourselves, and then I'll give you a glass of something. It could be something extra, you know. It could be, just look at how Cafe Javas has taken over the market. Food has been around, isn't it?
Yes.
What is the difference? You sit in there and then you have your service very instantly. They don't delay, you know that.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
They are very, very, very fast. You get it. And their food is very fresh, you know. You don't have to wait longer. There are restaurants that you go in and you have to call this one and that one and all that.
Yes.
So if for me, for example, you're saying, you know, I want to do gardening, or I want to, for example, there are many markets that sell food. And I would say, okay, for me, I think there are many homes in Kololo, or there are so many homes in Buziga that is so far away from a market. You know, it's so hard for them. And I'm going to use my app. You're able to order. My business is supplying mobile. You do an app, you select, I bring it for you fresh. Meaning for me, I'm coming in with a different preposition.
Correct.
You get it? So if you're starting a business, it's not about something completely new, but how different are you delivering it?
So ideally, what you're talking about is the experience that you want to offer to your clientele.
Good.
The customer
Good.
experience.
Good.
The service, what people call customer care.
Good.
I'm a professional in that. Conversation for another day, but I totally agree. That's the game changer. That will be a key differentiator, because we always say that there's no space you'll get into that doesn't have people who have been there and are thriving. So what will make it different for you? So that's critical. Let's move on to the other conversation. Of course, once you've built the business up, it's grown, legacy, passing it on to the next person to take on the mantle.
Yes.
How do you prepare your business well enough for the change of management?
Yes.
But before you answer that,
Yes.
the other critical thing, we always say that for you to grow your business, partnerships are key. So how do you go about scouting out for partnerships, and the right ones at that?
Yes. Our partnerships are very key because, you know, as you grow your business, you need a lot of capital. And, you know, financing, the cost of financing is a little bit high in Uganda, you know, at 24%, 26, 30%. It's extremely too high. We are competing with economies that would lend you at 4% per year.
Correct.
You get it? No. Now, the best way that you can be able to do this is through partnerships. You have somebody who would supply. If I have a supermarket, all I need is actually partnerships. You know, people who are able to supply me, and I'm able to pay them back. People are able to deliver. If I have a hotel or a bar or whatever it is,
Right.
all I need is partnerships, you know. And I think for me, they really work. These are very critical for young people. There are so many people in Chikubo, in Kampala, that don't even have capital, but they work through partners. He's selling, he doesn't have a single, but he will earn, you know. He's getting something from the boss. They call them Mugaga. You pick something and then you sell and then you return.
Right.
You get it? These partnerships are actually extremely very, very critical. They are better sometime on referrals, maybe because you've heard about them, you've gotten somebody who says, this is who I am using to
Right.
supply me. This is who I'm using to source for sourcing. You get it?
Right.
And those are very critical for you, because if you don't have capital, and for young people, sometimes what you need as a young people is just a partner. I have talked about a very young girl whose life was changed by just saying, you know what? She went to a school and she said, I want to be the partner supplying tea leaves. You know tea leaves?
Yes.
And the owner of the school said, okay, fine. She goes to Owino Market, where they sell, you know, majani in large quantities.
Yeah.
She buys spices. She goes to NASA, where they do packing.
Yeah.
And all these things are on credit. On credit. She started with only 50,000. Her business is now worth almost 200 million shillings as I speak right now.
Brilliant.
You know,
Right.
and if you look at it, it is only the people that she worked, those networks, those contacts.
Okay.
And I always tell people, it's not about saying I know Ruth.
Yeah.
I know the mayor. I know the owner of the school. I know the owner of the hotel. How are you using that contact to turn it into a business opportunity?
Creating value. That's what people want to hear. All right, as we wrap this up, I want you to give us 3 pointers in terms of what should be my
And
check.
family business.
Yes, and family business as well. We have about 2 minutes to wrap
It's
up.
okay.
So 1 minute, I want you to give us 3 pointers, the checklist when I'm scouting out for a partner, or if a partner has actually approached me.
Yeah.
What should be my checklist? Because when your business is growing, it's very attractive. It's like a young girl who is now, you know, becoming an adolescent. Very beautiful. But you have to have your own way of sieving out. So how do you sieve out? Just first 3 pointers, checklist to sieve out and to get the right partners for your business. 1 minute.
One of the things that for any partner, you still need to do a reference check. You can ask them, who are you working with already? All right, they will tell you, oh, I am working with the supermarket, I'm working with the school, I'm doing here and here. Try to find out. Please try to find out. Don't just take it for granted.
Right.
Ask, because they can even lie to you. You know, try to ask. You know, do some reference checks. Reference checks would be through a bank. If you have your banker, they are very good at that. If they tell you they are supplying, associations are very good. We are here, for example, at PSFU. There are so many people that try to us to say, please give us a reference about this institution.
All right.
And we've been very helpful. So such institutions are very, very helpful. But you need to check. You need to check who they are. You need to check their track record.
Okay.
You need to find out where are they located.
So
Who
some
are the
form-
people bound? Yeah, you
some
have
form
to
of
do
due
that.
diligence.
You have to do that.
All right.
It's
So the
very
second
hard
one,
to do that.
the second
and
checker.
then take baby steps.
Okay,
Don't go
take
into
baby
the-
steps.
Take baby steps.
All right.
And then once you see that partnership growing and growing, then you can put in your both.
All right, the third one.
That's I said checking to a reference check,
Yes.
baby steps,
Yes.
and I think also formalize. Sometimes
Okay.
we go into partnership without formalizing anything.
All right, thank
And
you
that
so
can
much.
be a problem.
Last conversation. How do you prepare your business for it to be, you know, to hand it over to the next generation, so to speak?
Yes.
We've been having family businesses that struggle to hand over the business to someone else to take the mantle. So how do you prepare your business that way, and how do you groom the people you really want to take on to be ready now for that huge responsibility?
You don't prepare at the end. You involve them from the beginning.
Good.
Where we go wrong is bring them at the end.
Like the Asians do.
You get it.
Right.
Start it from the beginning. Give them roles. You know, I have a friend of mine, and currently she has a. You know, I was visiting her business over the weekend, and she was like, "This clinic, my daughter is going to do it." And she was like, "I asked her, I'm the MD. I said, this is the office of the MD." I asked her, "Who's the MD?" She said, "I'm the MD." And I was like, "Oh wow!" Give them roles and responsibilities, and
Right.
pay them. Parents have a challenge. They put their kids in their businesses. They don't give them roles. Angela, you come and be around.
Yeah.
Be around and do what? As who? What is my role? What is my responsibility? Mom, can you respect me at work and know that I am the manager of marketing?
All
Not Angela, come. People want to, even when I'm your son or your daughter and I'm working with you, I deserve my space at work.
All right.
You get it? And pay me a salary.
Right.
It's not for free.
So involve them from the onset and do it professionally.
Professionally give them a role and pay them.
And pay-
they don't want to work with you because you don't pay them.
And pay them. Thank you so much. That's a good closing for this particular conversation. Many thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, so that was Miss Ruth Bienzika Musoke, Director, Private Sector Foundation. She also manages the Skills Development Fund right there. Keep your views coming. #morning@NTV. Feel free to tag us directly as well. Man, in 2020, we have to do things differently. You must go out and conquer indeed. We're taking a short break and we'll be back with so much more for us to wind up. Stay with us.